such unique styles that implemented the light and life that surrounded him, as well as the beauty that inspired him. From endless swirls of stars, winds whipped
Bumblebee.
fields of hay and florals like sunflowers coated in vibrant hues, peers out in this hidden portrait one of many that he had painted of himself, which apparently the revealed artwork is believed to have been unknown until now. As of 2022, researchers discovered under this painting of his 1885 work of the head of a peasant woman lies a self-portrait of the artist. In total, Vincent has painted over 35 self-portraits throughout his life. From the age of 19 till the age of 25, he would save money and sometimes paint self-portraits on the back of other paintings, which is probably what happened with this one. By doing so, he avoided the cost of not just a model, but also how expensive canvases as well as paints are all the time. I mean, they still are. My God, they're so expensive. He always seemed to paint himself with a serious and stoic face, but at the same time, researchers and art historians note that when it came to Vincent, he was mentally and physically exhausted all the time. That I can relate to. As for this painting, he seems to be wearing a straw hat, which he does eventually paint again in an 1887 painting of himself with the same hat. Either way, when it comes to artistic paintings and historical analysis of them, there's a story to everything a person makes. As well as like this gold mask that dates back over 3,000 years among hundreds of relics, the golden mask of Sangsikdui was discovered alongside its other companions by a farmer in 1920. Weighing up to 100 grams, it was likely that this archaeological find would have been part of a larger bronze head than a singular object. It dates back to the Shang dynasty, which came to an end in 1046 BC. Alongside the golden mask uncovers up to 500 items, including ivory relics, a jade knife, a ceremonial vessel, and other bronze figurines. As more excavations were made, they uncovered more relics. Over 1,000 pieces and items were found, as well as another golden mask. Unsure if it was a separate piece of the other mask, but together marks a clear indication that they were from the same era and same material. Even the craftsmanship of the design, although different, has a similar intended markings and curvature of each crinkle within the metal. In total, since 1920, over 50,000 ancient artifacts have came to light, and although the Sangshi Dui civilization is long gone, the people and life of this era marks an outstanding representation of the Bronze Era and civilization of China, East Asia, and even the world. Cave of Altamira is also known as the home of the prehistoric cave art located near the historic town of Santilla Ana del Mar in Cantabria, Spain. Featuring a charcoal drawing and paintings of contemporary local fauna and human hands, the earliest paintings were applied during the Upper Paleolithic around 36,000 years ago. The site was discovered in 1868 by Modesto Cubillas alongside the striking quality of its polychromatic art. Altamira's fame stems from the fact that the paintings were the first European cave paintings for which a prehistoric origin was suggesting and promoting that Sautuola, who studied the cave relentlessly, published in his research with the support of others like Juan de Villanova y Piera in 1880 to initially public acclaim. But the public opinion of the research led to bitter public controversy among experts who researched the prehistoric origins of the paintings on the ground that prehistoric humans must have lacked the sufficient abilities for abstract thought. But turns out, as more prehistoric caves filled with similar paintings and designs around Franco-Cantabrian region debunked the controversies, proving in human immigration, integration, constant moving and settling placed these human artists in motion everywhere. The Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered by a group of Bedouin teenagers tending to their sheep in 1946 in Palestine. Qumran, also known as the West Bank, one of the Palestinians named as Mohammed Al-Thib, were walking around the Dead Sea tossing rocks when one of the rocks knocked the opening off a cliffside, revealing a cave filled with jars. These large clay jars contain leather and papyrus scrolls, and antiquities dealers bought the cash, which basically ultimately ended up in the hands of various scholars who estimated that the texts were upward of to 2,000 years old. After word of the discovery got out, Bedouin treasure hunters and archaeologists unearthed tens of thousands of additional
But
scroll
actually,
fragments from
yet
10 nearby
it
caves, and
doesn't
in
seem
total,
like
making up between
so long
800
time
to
ago.
900 manuscripts. The origins of the texts include mixes of languages, including Hebrew, Aramaic, as well as an ancient Paleo-Hebrew alphabet that thought to have fallen out of use in the 5th century BC. In addition, several texts featuring translations of the Hebrew Bible into Greek, which Jews used instead of the additional of Hebrew at the time of the scroll's creation. One fascinating thing about the manuscripts of Qumran is a copper scroll consisting of 2 rolls of copper, which was found in cave number 3. The scrolls consisted of copies of biblical and apocryphal literature, the writings of the sect, including the commentaries, the rule of the community, the scroll of the war of the sons of light against the sons of darkness, and the Damascus document. The Dead Sea Scrolls constitute one of the major archaeological discoveries of the 20th century. They incorporate the earliest known manuscript of the Bible, as well as other important historical documents describing the life of the Essen community. At the same time, they are also the main source for the study of the history of Palestine, as the Dead Sea Scrolls have shed a light on Judaism and the root of Christianity on the shore of the Dead Sea. The
You
Aztec calendar stone
It's
is
not like
another
it's
historical and important
new
archaeological
or
find that
whatever.
holds a
It's
lot of
like
significance to the ancient civilizations, like the Aztec people.
it's
The
just
stone is not therefore in
comes
any
back
sense a
again.
functioning calendar, but
It's like
rather
a
an
circle for a
elaborately
lot of
carved
stuff that
solar
you,
disc, which for the Aztecs
information
and
that
other
you had before.
Mesoamerican cultures represented rulership. The stone was discovered in December 1790 CE in the Central Plaza of Mexico City and now resides in the National Museum of Anthropology in that city. The stone would originally have been laid flat on the ground and possibly anointed with blood sacrifices. When it was discovered, the stone was laying flat and upside down, perhaps in an attempt to prevent the final cataclysm, the fall of the fifth and final sun. As the Aztec world fell apart following the attack from the old world, on either side of the central face are two jaguar heads or paws, each clutching a heart representing the terrestrial realm. Then there is a decorative ring surrounded by another ring depicting symbols which represents turquoise and jade, symbols of the equinox and solstice and the colors of the heavens, as the two heads of the bottom center represents fire serpents and their bodies run around the perimeter of the stone with each ending in a tail. The four cardinal and intercardinal directions are also indications with larger and lesser points respectively. But when it comes to ancient times, especially with ancient Mesoamerican cultures, there was always a murmur of the brutality of human sacrifices, when in fact, maybe it wasn't as frequent as people think. But hey, what do you think? Inside a medieval burial mound at Sutton Hoo lies the Anglo-Saxon ship burial. Amateur archaeologist Basil Brown famously made the discovery of a lifetime back in 1939 when he brushed away the Suffolk soil and revealed the richest intact early medieval grave in Europe. As Basil and a team of archaeologists dug deeper, they unearthed the fine feasting vessels, deluxe hanging bowls, silverware from distant Byzantine luxury textiles, gold dress accessories set with Sri Lankan garnets, and with the iconic helmet with human mask. Sue Brunning, a curator of early medieval European collections, say that the burial was the final resting place of someone who had died in the earliest 7th century, during the Anglo-Saxon period, a time before England actually existed. She highlights the effort of manpower that would have taken necessary to position and bury the ship, as it would have involved a lot of dragging the ship uphill from the River Devon, digging a large trench, cutting trees to craft the chamber, dressing it with finery, and finally raising the mound. Unfortunately, we'll never know the true identity of the grave's inhabitant. When it was unearthed in 1939, any bodily remains were actually claimed by the acidic soil to leave only a human-shaped gap among the treasures within. Despite the lack of human remains, it's still pretty possible to glean personal information about that inhabitant. And speaking of mechanisms and intriguing pieces, the Antikythera mechanism is an ancient Greek hand-powered orrery or model of the solar system, described as one of the oldest example of an analog computer. I don't think you could play Minecraft on this computer though, but apparently according to researchers, you could use this to predict astronomical positions and eclipses decades in advance. It could also be used to track the 4-year cycle of athletic games, similar to the Olympiad, the cycle of the ancient of the current Olympic Games. Its construction relied on theories of astronomical and mathematics developed by Greek astronomers during the 2nd century BC, and it is estimated to have been built in the late 2nd century BC or the earliest 1st century BC. Although researchers analyzed this intricate relic, the evidence that the Antikythera mechanism was not unique adds support to the idea that there was also an ancient Greek tradition of complex mechanisms technology that was used later, at least in the part transmitted to the Byzantine and Islamic world, where apparently mechanical devices were pretty complex, but they still existed back then, and they were also built during the Middle Ages. In the ancient Islamic world, Banu Musa's Kitab al-Qiyal, or the Book of Indigenous Devices, was commissioned by the Caliph of Baghdad in the early 9th century AD. This text describes over 100 mechanical devices, some of which may date back to ancient Greek texts preserved in monasteries. A Greek calendar similar to the Byzantine device was described by the scientist Al-Biruni around 1000, and a surviving 13th century astrolabe also consigned century and is centered on theories of FPS. Though the mechanism is an ancient Greek mechanism claimed by the acidic soil to leave only a human-shaped gap among the treasures within. Despite the lack of human remains, it's still pretty possible to glean personal information about that inhabitant. And speaking of mechanisms and intriguing pieces, the Antikythera mechanism is an ancient Greek hand-powered orrery or model of the solar system, described as one of the oldest example of an analog computer.
It's
I
a
don't think you
theory.
can play Minecraft on this computer though, but apparently according to researchers, you could use this to predict astronomical positions and eclipses decades in advance. It could also be used to track the 4-year cycle of athletic games, similar to the Olympiad, the cycle of the ancient of the current Olympic Games. Its construction relied on theories of astronomical and mathematics developed by Greek astronomers during the 2nd century BC, and it is estimated to have been built in the late 2nd century BC or the earliest 1st century BC. Although researchers analyzed this intricate relic, the evidence that the Antikythera mechanism was not unique adds support to the idea idea that there was also an ancient Greek tradition of complex mechanisms, technology that was used later, at least in the part transmitted to the Byzantine and Islamic world, where apparently mechanical devices were pretty complex, but they still existed back then, and they were also built during the Middle Ages. In the ancient Islamic world, Banu Musa's Kitab al-Hiyal, or the Book of Indigenous Devices, was commissioned by the Caliph of Baghdad in the early 9th century AD. This text describes over 100 mechanical devices, some of which may date back to ancient Greek texts preserved in monasteries.
So in Islam, they were aware of it as well.
Described by the scientist Al-Biruni around
I mean,
1000,
in
and a
Islamic
surviving
areas,
13th century
locations.
astrolabe also containing a similar clockwork device. It is possible that this medieval technology may have been transmitted to Europe and contributed to the development of mechanical clocks there. Even in the 11th century in China, Su Song constructed a mechanical clock tower, as well as pointing positions of some stars and planets, which were shown on a very similar mechanical rotated sphere. The Rosetta Stone was also one of the many archaeological discoveries that surprised many around the world. The stone have even helped aid translators as it played a crucial role in deciphering ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. Discovered by a French soldier named Pierre-François Bouchard in July 1799 during a French campaign in Egypt, located the stone in modern-day Rashid in Nile Delta, also known back then as Rosetta. The Rosetta Stone contained inscriptions in 3 scripts: Greek, Egyptian hieroglyphics, and a script known as Demotic. The Rosetta Stone remains one of the most visited and well-known artifacts in the British Museum, attracting millions of visitors each year. But many Egyptians want their artifacts back, as
stolen.
most, if not majority, of the pieces stored in museums like the one in the British museums were stolen from their land, and as tourist extractions, then allowing Egyptians to probably decide what to do with their stuff because it's from their ancestors, you know. A wedding ring, which holds a lot of significance in many cultures in today's modern age, was also discovered by a man by the English countryside as he was trying his hand at becoming a metal detectorist, where he stumbled upon a gold and diamond medieval wedding ring on his second attempt. David Ford's astonishing find, which was believed to be a scrap of metal, told the news outlets, which was back in 2019, but came to public attention, that this was the sale at Noonan's. The piece of the jewelry features 2 entwined bands to symbolize marriage and the union, and an integrated diamond. Inside the band is a medieval French inscription that reads, Leo vos tien vos tenez le moi, which translates to, I hold your faith, hold mine. According to the auction house, the ring sold up to £38,000, which apparently is $46,000, on November 29th, and maybe people might find more things as they start looking, but with some discoveries, you might not have to dig so much. As an example, when it came to the Moai statues, known as the Eastern Island heads, are pretty iconic. The purpose of the Moai statues is to believe to be both religious and cultural, as they likely represent ancestors, chiefs, or other important figures in the Rapa Nui society. In some point, the Rapa Nui history, there was a decline in statue productions, and many Moai has toppled from their platforms, possibly due to internal conflicts or environmental challenges. Efforts have been made to preserve and restore the Maui statues in Easter Island, as European contact in the 18th century and later events, including the transportations of some statues to other countries, further contributed to the decline of the Moai culture. Some statues have been re-erected on their original Ahu platforms, which providing insight to the island's cultural heritage, all of which place a significance in discovery within their history.
Number 10, the oldest inscription mentioning Odin. In Denmark, a remarkable archaeological find was made with the discovery of a golden disc from the 5th century. It was part of the Vindeliv hoard. This disc contains the oldest known inscription of the name in the Norse god Odin. Yeah, you know Odin, Thor's dad, that guy on a golden plate. How amazing is that? Previously, the earliest evidence of Odin worship was dated 150 years later, making this discovery quite significant for understanding the pre-Viking spiritual landscape in Scandinavia. Imagine finding a gold disc and you're like, oh, it's the god of thunder. That's neat. How fun is that? Let's sell this. Probably like, what, $40? Easy? Whatever. When archaeologists were exploring the Batifrada cave in Italy, they uncovered a remarkable find. They stumbled upon a 7,000-year-old clay female figurine. First of all, kind of haunting. If I found that, I'd probably faint. That's a pretty scary one to pick up. This ancient figurine was believed to be linked to rituals or religious practices, so its discovery provides insights into how early humans viewed the afterlife. Its discovery in such a well-preserved state also allows researchers to better understand the symbolic and ceremonial roles that these figures played in their communities. I'll admit it looks quite alien. It's the size of a tree ornament, but the history behind this figurine is quite large. In Bavaria, Germany, archaeologists discovered an exceptionally well-preserved Bronze Age sword that continues to shine even after 3,000 years. Imagine that. This remarkable find was unearthed at a burial site where it was likely placed as a grave good, highlighting the high status of said individual. The sword's pristine condition and exquisite craftsmanship illustrates the advanced skills of Bronze Age Europeans. Also, imagine finding a sword. How cool is that? It's like a childhood dream come true. This is like something you'd find in Elden Ring. This one is crazy. In the town of Freising, Germany, a medieval skeleton with an iron prosthetic hand was discovered. Old Bones Jones here met his fate a very long time ago. Experts concluded that he was alive somewhere between 1450 and 1620. Quite old. Imagine digging up medieval medical technology. How amazing is that? The use of a prosthetic hand suggests a relatively advanced understanding of bodily mechanics and an ability to manufacture functional aids, which indicates that disability was both acknowledged and accommodated to some extent during this era, many moons ago. One can only imagine the social status and wealth that might have been associated with individuals who could even afford such devices. That's crazy. People can't afford bread, and you can afford an extra limb, an iron limb. Weird flex, but okay. In Norway, during a routine home renovation, homeowners stumbled upon a Viking Age burial site, revealing not just a grave, but a treasure trove of artifacts, including weaponry and jewelry. That's amazing. I would be so scared. We have to move immediately. This place is haunted. These amazing finds go back 1,200 years. Imagine that. You order some renovations and end up finding Norse burial sites. That's fun. The presence of weapons and jewelry in the graves suggests the high status of the individual buried there as well, reflecting the Viking belief in an afterlife where such items were deemed necessary. That's always fun. I hope student loans are necessary in the afterlife, because if so, oh boy! In the historical region of Asturias, Spain, a 2,000-year-old Roman sandal was discovered in an ancient well. First of all, when I say sandal, it wasn't a flip-flop, you know what I mean? When I say sandal, I mean a beautifully decorated artifact, reflecting the sophisticated craftsmanship and fashion sense of ancient Roman.
Crazy stuff in this world, man. That's crazy.
Flip-flop you find like Walmart. No, none of that. This artifact is not just a piece of footwear, but a cultural relic that showcases the Romans' widespread influence all across Europe, including the integration of Roman customs and items into local Spanish life. It's a pretty huge discovery. In a remote
I don't know whether it's luck
Israel,
or it's
archaeologists
just
uncovered Roman swords dating back 1,900 years ago. Yeah, we found swords, just a bunch of swords. That's nice. This discovery is massive. This provides a concrete connection to the Romans' military in the region, illustrating their reach and influence during the height of the Roman Empire. The well-preserved state of these swords suggests that they were possibly hidden or lost during military maneuvers or conflicts in the area. Also, these finds not only highlight the strategic importance of the region within the vast Roman territories, the presence of these weapons in a desert cave underscores the challenging conditions Roman armies faced while enforcing Rome's frontier policies and engaging with diverse cultures all across the empire. You had to hide your swords while you're doing your job. Probably a lot of shit going down. Fiddler's Theater, come on down. It's just me and you. What a weird name for this weird thing. Excavations in Rome revealed the remains of the Theatrum Neroni, a private theater used by Emperor Nero, previously known only through texts. Now, this discovery provides a physical context, of course, to historical accounts of Nero's reign. Always fun when you find that. I thought Nero was a brat when he made a palace for his horse, but his own private theater.
What?
Imagine doing an entire show for one person. How awkward is that? Although I am kind of doing that right now with Chris over here, our producer, so maybe. Am I Nero? I kind of feel like Nero right now. I don't know. If 1 million people watch this, maybe I'll feel like Nero, but right now, not so much. Now I feel silly doing my bits. While investigating a house dating to the 16th century in Old Dongola, once the capital of the medieval Nubian kingdom of Mercuria, a team from the Polish Center of Mediterranean Archaeology discovered this intricate puzzling network of rooms right beneath the floor, right? Just a random find, doing renovations, and now you find this below. What could possibly be hiding below? On one of the walls of one of these rooms was a narrow space measuring just 3 feet wide and 9 feet long. That's when archaeologists found several unorthodox paintings that they believe date back to the 13th century. Now, one of these paintings supposedly portrays the Virgin Mary herself. Another painting depicts a scene in which the Archangel Michael holds a Nubian king in his arms and presents him to Jesus, who sits on a cloud and, of course, extends a hand for the king to kiss. You know, that kind of art. It's pretty deep. I don't know what to tell you. This is very uncommon for Christian art. Usually, Christian art does not show us interactions or contact between mortals and immortals. So what could this possibly meant? It's pretty loaded. I don't know. Jesus is floating on a cloud. He's like high-fiving another king. He's dapping him up. It's art. It's whatever you want it to be. Last year was a breakout year for archaeological discoveries. It's no surprise that our last entry on our list today is as crazy as it gets. But before we finish up here, click that thumbs up and subscribe. Gotcha, let's keep going. A Kentucky man was doing some yard work when he accidentally unearthed a crop of Civil War era coins that were tucked away in his cornfields, all of which that have already been sold at auction. So no, you can't get your hands on any of them. Too late, pal. It's intriguing to read about treasure troves being found in these cornfields because it's proof that you never know what you can find. Get out there and go look around. You might find paintings of the Virgin Mary. Never know. I know you can do it. Go find some paintings.
Number 10, Post-it notes. In 1974, a man named Spencer Silver, a chemist at 3M, accidentally created a weak adhesive while attempting to develop a super strong adhesive. This unique adhesive had the property of sticking well to surfaces but could easily be removed without leaving a residue. Initially, Dr. Silver and his team struggled to find a practical application for the seemingly weak adhesive, and it wasn't until 1974 that a colleague of Dr. Silver, Art Fry, found a practical use for the adhesive. These early versions of the Post-it notes were initially called Pressed and Peel. Post-it notes have become a iconic office and stationery product widely used around the world. The accidentally discovery by Dr. Spencer Silver, combined with the innovative application of Art Fry, resulted in one of the most successful and enduring products of the realm of the office supply world. Number 9, vulcanized rubber. Charles Goodyear accidentally discovered the process of vulcanization in 1839 when he dropped a mixture of rubber and sulfur on a hot stove. The resulting material was more durable, elastic, and resistant to heat, leading to the development of vulcanized rubber. The process began with natural rubber, which is derived from the latex sap of rubber trees. The raw rubber is usually in the form of soft, sticky, and easily deformable material. After the rubber has been heated and vulcanized, it is cooled to set the cross lengths. The now vulcanized rubber can be shaped into various forms and retains its elasticity and strength. The discovery of vulcanization by Charles Goodyear in 1839 had a profound impact on the rubber industry. Prior to vulcanization, natural rubber had limitations such as being sensitive to temperature changes and becoming brittle in cold weather. Vulcanization transformed rubber into a more versatile material, making it sustainable for applications ranging from tires and footwear to industrial products. Number 8, Teflon. Okay. Chemist Roy Plunkett accidentally discovered Teflon while working on a project involving refrigerants. He found that a gas called tetrafluoroethylene polymerized into solid white powder, which had a unique non-stick property. Roy Plunkett was experimenting with these gases relating to refrigeration, specifically trying to create a new refrigerant. In one of his experiments, he polymerized tetrafluoroethylene, or TFE, a colorless, odorless gas. However, the gas unexpectedly polymerized into a white, waxy solid. This solid material turned out to have a remarkable non-stick property, as Teflon was found in applications in a variety of industries, including cookware, non-stick pans, industrial machinery, aerospace, electronics, and many more. Its ability to withstand high temperatures without losing its non-stick properties made it particularly valuable in the kitchen and the for industrial applications. Teflon is now widely used in non-stick cookware. Number 7, microwave ovens. In 1945, Spencer was working on an active radar set using magnetron at the Raytheon Corporation. One day, while standing in front of an active radar set, he noticed that a chocolate bar in his pocket had melted. Intrigued by this unexpected observation, he began experimenting with different foods, placing them near the magnetron. Spencer realized that the microwaves emitted from the magnetron could cook food, leading to the development of the microwave oven. The early microwave ovens were actually very large and expensive, primarily used in industrial settings such as restaurants or cafeterias. But over time, advancement in technology led to the development of smaller, more affordable microwave ovens for household use. By the 1970s, microwave ovens had become a common kitchen appliance in many homes. Number 6, Magic Mike Pill. To all the men who struggle to get their motor going, you'd be relieved to know that this magic pill for men was invented in 1998. Originally developed to treat angina, which is a chest pain condition, the drug sildenafil, also better known by its brand name, Happy Times, became famous for its unexpected side effect as it induced a man's journey towards greener pastures. In the early 1990s, a team of Pfizer researchers led by scientists Peter Dunn and Albert Wood was conducted clinical trials on a compound known as a sildenafil citrate. The compound was intended to dilate blood vessels in the heart and thus in reducing blood pressure. During the clinical trials, however, it was observed that while the drug did not show significant efficiencies in treating hypertension and angina, it produced an unexpected side effect. Male participants reportedly an increase in the frequency of strength in their hoodly doodly noodly, becoming a great comrade through long
for those who
nights.
want it.
The medicine's discovery and subsequent introduction marked a significant breakthrough in the treatment of the Microsoft thing. It became one of the most prescribed medications globally and had profound impact on the lives of many men. The accidental discovery of the man's magic pill highlighted how serendipity in scientific research can lead to unexpected and beneficial outcomes. I should note that Microsoft thing was noted by the editor that I should say, so don't say mean things about that. Anyways, next one. Number 5, X-rays. X-rays was discovered by the German physicist William Röntgen in
That's dope.
1895. Röntgen's discovery was accidental and occurred while he was conducting experiments with a cathode ray, a type of radiation produced in a vacuum tube. Röntgen noticed that while a cathode ray struck a screen coated with a fluorescent material, the material emitted a nice glow. This phenomenon was expected and had been observed before. During his experiments, Röntgen observed that even while he was covered the cathode ray tube with a thick, light, tight cover, a nearby screen coated with a fluorescent
Well,
material
this is low key
continued to glow.
actually
And this was unexpected because the
studying
cover was thought to
in
block
the
all
morning,
forms or known
because
forms
it
of
is
radiation. Röntgen realized
morning,
the potential of
and
applications of this new
you don't
radiation
get
for imaging and the
many
internal
people
structures
who
of objects, including the human
want to
body.
wake up
He produced the
who
first
was
X-ray
awake,
image capturing the
I
skeletal
mean,
structure of his wife's hand. The
and
image
straight
showed the
up
bones as well as her
want
vertebrae.
to
In
have
December
information
1895, Röntgen
about
publicly announced his
about
discovery
who
of a
invented
new
what,
kind of ray, X-rays. Number 4, radium. Radium was discovered by Marie
especially
Curie and her
children.
husband Pierre Curie in
You
1898.
you
Marie
think
and Pierre
adults have
Curie were
time
studying the radioactive properties of
to
uranium
listen?
ores, specifically and particularly in a pitch blende, also known as uranite. They discovered the radioactivity of the ore exceeded what could have been explained by the presence of known radioactive elements like uranium and thorium. Shortly after isolating polonium, an element both Curies named in honor of Marie Curie's homeland Poland, the Curies continued their research on a pitch blende and identified another highly radioactive substance. The Curies continued their research on pitch blende and identified another highly radioactive substance. In December 1898, they announced the discovery of radium. The name radium is derived from the Latin word radius, meaning ray, emphasizing its strong radioactive properties. Marie Curie's groundbreaking work on radioactivity included the discovery of radium and polonium, earned her the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1903, shared with her husband, of course, as well as Henri Becquerel, shared with her husband Pierre Curie and Henri Becquerel. In 1911, she received a second Nobel Prize, this time in chemistry, for her discovery of radium and polonium in her investigation of their properties. Radium was initially used for various purposes, including luminescent paint for clock and watch dials, medical treatments, and scientific research.
That's
However,
true.
the health hazards associated with the radium exposure were not fully understood at the time, leading to an
She was
occupational and
exposed to
public health issue
radiation.
in the
That's
decades
messed
that
up.
followed. Number 3, penicillin. Alexander Fleming, a Scottish bacteriologist, discovered the antibiotic properties of penicillin when he observed that a mold called Penicillium notatum inhibited the growth of bacteria.
He
This
created
accidental discovery
antibiotic.
revolutionized medicine and paved the way for the development of antibiotics. Fleming recognized the significant potential of penicillin as an antibacterial agent. In subsequent experiments, he demonstrated the ability to kill a wide range of bacteria, making it a promising tool in the fight against bacterial infections. The development of penicillin as a widely used antibiotic took several years, and it was used during World War II that researchers such as Howard Florey, Ernest Boris Chain, and Norman Heatley played a crucial role in developing methods for mass production of penicillin. By the early 1940s, penicillin was being produced on a large scale and became a vital tool in treating bacterial infections. Penicillin and subsequent antibiotics played a crucial role in saving countless lives and transformed the field of medicine by providing effective treatments for previously deadly bacterial diseases. Alexander Fleming was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 1945 for his discovery of penicillin. Number 2, dynamite. Dynamite was invented by Alfred Nobel, a Swedish chemist, engineer,
Alfred
and inventor
Nobel.
in 1867. Alfred Nobel was seeking a safer and more stable alternative to nitroglycerin, which was a highly explosive substance but notoriously difficult to handle. Nitroglycerin
actually
had already been used in various industrial
should
applications,
be
particularly
next in
construction and
line with
mining, due to
Oppenheimer.
the explosive properties. Alfred Nobel's interest in explosives began when his involvement in the family business, which focused on
Just saying.
manufacturing nitroglycerin.
But
Nitroglycerin
hey,
was a
all
powerful
respect to
explosive, but
them,
its sensitivity to
you
shock
know what I
and
mean,
temperature
or
fluctuations
big
made it
inventors
hazardous
thing.
to transport and handle. Nobel recognized the need for a safer way to handle and use
cannot be,
nitroglycerin, as accidents involving nitroglycerin had caused several injuries and fatalities,
throwing
including the
shades
death of
or
Nobel's younger
I don't know
brother,
how to
Emil,
call
in
it
1864.
to people who
Dynamite
have
offered
passed.
several advantages over raw nitroglycerin, as it was more stable, less sensitive to
kinda-
shock, and could be molded
it's
into sticks
unfair.
or cartridges for easy handling. The controlled and predictable detonation of dynamite made it a more valuable tool in construction, mining, and other industries. The invention of dynamite had a profound impact on various industries,
And definitely
including
after their
construction, mining,
legacy,
and
it's
infrastructure
like,
development.
why?
It facilitated in construction of tunnels, bridges, and other large-scale projects, contributing to the rapid industrialization of the late 19th
Create
century.
your own.
And finally, number 1. I know some might be shocked that this man is at number 1, but to me, considering he almost died so many times just to invent this, he deserves to be on this list. Alexa, play Careless Whisper. If you're in high school band or just had a hobby like Lisa Simpson, you'd be happy to discover that your favorite central magical hornet was made by a man named Adolphe Sax. But Adolphe Sax was actually the most accident-prone man you can think of. At one point, he was struck on the head by a brick, had burns from a gunpowder explosion, accidentally swallowed a needle, fell down a flight of stairs, fell onto a burning stove, fell onto a hot cast iron pan, nearly drowned in a river, and accidentally drank some sulfuric acid. because why not? But despite the chaoticness of his life, he was in love with music, and he wanted to make a jam that combines woodwind instruments as well as horns. And while he was trying to remix the bass, clarinet, and other instruments, he was finally able to make the one and only saxophone. All while also getting lip cancer and recovering. But
He
then he
got
finally
lip
died from
cancer,
pneumonia, and thanks to him, no matter what
but
life threw at him, he
still
gave us an
was
amazing and
committed to
popular
playing
instrument that struck a lot of inspiration
the
to jazz,
trumpet
classical, and
or
general popular music everywhere.
saxophone. I
The
don't know.
latest and the greatest. Number 10 is the latest Saqqara discoveries. So, on January 26th of 2023, after a year-long excavation of the notorious Saqqara necropolis, two ancient tombs that date back to the 5th and 6th dynasty of the Old Kingdom are unveiled to the public. Zahi Hawass, who isn't my favorite person to cite, gave a statement on one of the mummies found. Kanahe Dedefe was a inspector of officials, supervisor of nobles, and a priest in the pyramid complex of Unas.
That's
Many
dedication
had
right
many
there, man.
titles, one of
See,
them being the keeper of secrets, which is a
like
title
nothing
you hear
stops you
again
from
later in this video. This would also be a great time to take a second and subscribe to the
your
Hive if you're a fan
greatness.
of discoveries such as
That's
these. Also found was a stone
different.
sarcophagus with a mummified man named Fatek. But the most important of the dusty corpses found was a gold leaf-covered mummy. Hecashepis was found in a 15-meter burial shaft inside a large rectangular limestone sarcophagus. While other mummies have been found with this unusual coating choice, Hecashepis gets to take seniority. This mummy is the oldest complete mummy covered in gold, Hawass said in an interview, having led the excavation himself. The excavation team also found dozens of other valuable artifacts, including statues, some of which still have their original paint intact, as well as amulets, coins, earrings, rings, and tablets, all of which are currently being displayed at the Step Pyramid of Hawza in Saqqara. Number 9 is the tomb special of collecting crocs. Archaeologists excavating the Theban necropolis in Egypt made an extraordinary but unusual discovery, which was announced on December 20th of 2022. 9 crocodile heads placed inside 2 tombs belonging to high-ranking nobles. Archaeologist Patrick Chudzik told the Newsweek that the discovery was the first of its kind, as crocodile remains have never been discovered inside the tombs of Egypt, despite usually being found inside of temples or special catacombs. Dr. Chudzik explains, in our case, things are different. Firstly, only the heads and not the entire bodies of these Nile reptiles have been deposited in these tombs where we were. Secondly, they were not mummified, only wrapped in linen. There's a significant difference in this, as no preservatives were used. Finally, the remains were found in the tombs of humans, not catacombs of sacred animals. The tombs belong to 2 top officials during the reign of the pharaoh Nefertari Mentuhotep II. One being the Chancellor Cheti, a high official, but the occupant of the second tomb is actually still anonymous to us. Placing of the crocodile heads in the tombs, according to Dr. Chudzik, certainly was unusual, but not entirely unprecedented. He believes that earlier researchers paid scant attention to such finds that depict cultural practices but weren't treasures, stating that it's likely similar offerings had been placed in quite a few other tombs of rich individuals, but those offerings were discarded by the earlier researchers who discovered them. Number 8 is about the Ramessid Cemetery. So in April of 2023, the joint Dutch-Italian archaeological mission of the Saqqara
Cemetery.
archaeological site discovered the tomb of a person called Banhishia
It's, of course,
from
it's
the
Egypt.
Ramessid period.
Of course,
The
it's
chief
Egypt.
servant of the tomb of Aten. Alongside his tomb was the discovery of 4 small chapels, reinforcing the previous theories that suggest the reuse of the space between the tombs of the 18th dynasty in later eras and the constructions of tombs and chapels in that area during the Ramessid period of Egypt. The cemetery is a self-contained temple, having its own entrance and inner courtyard, as well as an underground burial chamber. Oddly, two out of those 4 chapels I mentioned were in dedication of a person that they don't recognize, called Yo-Yo. Endless inscriptions and scenes on the walls are distinguished by
Who's
their
Yo-Yo?
accuracy and quality of detail. One in particular shows a scene of funerary procession of Yo-Yo in the process of reviving his mummy again in the hereafter to live in the afterlife as a god. In
It's a
addition to
mummy.
a scene depicting the evil goddess Hathor and a boat of the god
Yo-Yo is a
Sekhara,
mummy.
the god of the underworld.
Okay.
Inside the tomb, the
Now we know.
mission found a stela picturing of Banhasi and his wife Baya, the singer of Amun, before a table of sacrifice and several
but
dried
why-
fruits and animals. While
why
some
release-
have warriors,
why-
others have the terracotta inscription.
You know that
Number
information,
7,
it doesn't
Egyptian Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities
it doesn't
announced
seem so
another
optimistic.
discovery in Saqqara, March 17th, 2022. As the title of the video reveals, it's very
it doesn't
obviously
seem like
tombs, specifically
we are
five
about to
of
witness
all
something
bearers dating
good.
Either Old Kingdom or the first transition/intermediate period.
But
roughly
maybe for some people it
4,700
is.
to 4,000 years ago. All belong to top dignitaries from respective time periods and are in good state of preservation. Piety, one of the top nobles of the court, had a well-defined pathway leading to his burial room, with the walls adorned with engraved pictures of many funeral scenes painted in bright terracotta and sandstone. Artistically, the colors of the paintings are considered royal colors by officials. Grave number 2 belonged to the wife of a man named Yart. Meanwhile, grave number 3 belonged to a person named Bobby Farahate, who used to occupy several important court positions, namely supervisor of the Great House, the chanting priest, and the cleaner of the house. The 5th cemetery is a man called Hanu, and
Italy
many
is a,
titles, such as
yo,
the mayor,
that's sick.
and the 6th grave, however, is the
At
most
least,
interesting of them, as it has
yo,
the archaeologist a little giddy. A woman called Betty,
at
who was
least
responsible for the king's
Euro
makeup,
Cup
appearance, and dressing,
or
and was
World Cup
buried with tons of her
with Italy,
cosmetic
it should
tools.
be possible.
Allegedly, she is also a priestess of Hathor, who's the goddess of love, beauty, music,
I tried it
fertility, and
with
pleasure. You
Brazil
wanna hear something crazy?
international.
Number 6 is
It
how
was
they
tough.
cracked open a tomb
I
and
only
they found 100
succeeded with
sealed
the
coffins.
Dutch
It was announced on the
international,
14th of November
but I came into like
2020.
the
It's the largest
finals.
find of that year in
Once I
100
wanted to
sealed
play the
coffins and over
finals, guess
40
what?
statues alongside
I
hundreds of
had to
mixed
delete the
artifacts.
game.
Naturally, they're discovered at the
And,
Second
or
Necropolis,
because
and
I
there are
had to
deceiving
switch
tales that the
phones.
items
I
date
had to
back to
get
the
this
Ptolemaic dynasty that
phone
ruled
instead
Egypt for
of
some
the
300
other.
years, from about 320 BC to 30
You
BC
still
and the
save
late
this one.
period. The coffins were found inside a
Put
burial
it
chest
back
that had
up.
not been opened at all for
Been
25
exactly
Yeah, I had
the same.
years. The
two.
preliminary studies
It was
revealed
like
quickly that most of these coffins belonged to 26th dynasty priests,
I had to
top
give it up,
officials,
man.
and elites. A number of wooden statues and colored stone
Hopefully, in the
masks were
near
also
future,
found, all in really great
I'll be
condition.
blessed
And
to
28 of the
get
statuettes
better
are
than what I
Ptesogod, the
have right
main
now.
god of the Saqqara
Inshallah.
necropolis. But there's one very special and unusual statue in this tomb, a bronze statue of the god Nefertita. The statue is inlaid with valuable precious stones. We're talking red agate, turquoise, jade, and lapis lazuli. It is 35 centimeters tall and has the name of its owner, Badia Muniz, engraved in its base like Andy in Toy Story. I mentioned telling y'all about another keeper of the secret, so that's exactly what number 5 will be. This impressive tomb complex belonged to Kenes, a priest and official who was once the most powerful in Egypt, aside from the pharaoh, of course. It was found during an excavation of an unfinished pyramid that's adjacent to 2 extensive necropolises, but the identity of the builder or even the name of the unfinished site is still unknown. On a mission to gain that information, the Czech team were working on the site for
How
over
long
2
is this
weeks
video,
when they made the
bro?
remarkable and
This is
unexpected
Bumblebee. Yes,
discovery.
an hour.
Bro.
See, I know them, man.
Their
Their videos are
always
always
serves as
so
a magnificent example of Old
freaking.
Kingdom architecture. In the tomb room, however, there's a limestone coffin and a statue of Canis, which has been somewhat
Sometimes it's like
miraculously
you just
preserved
want
in
to
its
watch
original
at least
location,
10 minutes
according to
of
the
their
Czech Institute of
videos, but you end
Egyptology's
up
report. It even
watching
still
an
has some of
hour
its
of
original paint. So,
Bumblebee.
the statue is
It's
also a
interesting, you
source of
know, the
context in the
information that
tomb,
they got.
revealing the name of
Sometimes
Canis and his
becoming too
many
much.
titles for us. Based on the inscriptions from
It
the tomb,
is.
he was
It can
also the
be a lot.
sole
Like
friend
1
of
hour
the pharaoh.
full of
This tomb has
information.
provided
It's
experts
like
with many new insights on the 5th Dynasty era. The discovery of the statue in the tomb was dramatic, as it proved in Old Kingdom at least, they still
headache.
place statues of the dead in their own tombs. Sadly, this is one of those times where grave goods were looted centuries ago, so not much else remains. For number 4, we'll learn about ancient Photoshop. Thanks to new X-ray scanning methods, as announced July 13th of 2022, we now know that some
These
of
are
the
the moments that I
paintings
would rather, want to play music or just, play games. But if I play music, then I cannot be on live. But if I play games, then I'm distracted. I have to be locked in. Otherwise, it's like, to me, everything has a world of its own. Parallel to you going outside, it's a world of its own. You're playing game, it's a world of its own.
First thing I saw was a very large sea cucumber about
You're on your
so
phone.
Think you know everything about biodiversity? Think again.
We didn't know what it was, and as we were swimming closer, it was actually bigger and bigger.
Modern science continues to surprise us with groundbreaking discoveries, unveiling new species that were once unknown. With each new research breakthrough, scientists are revealing creatures that shock the world. Get ready to dive into the fascinating world of strange new species that have been recently discovered.
Dope.
Nice.
In the clear,
Somebody
Ecuador,
said
a
nice.
country renowned for its extraordinary biodiversity, is home to some of the most
Nice.
unique and remarkable wildlife on the planet. Despite its relatively small size, just 35 times smaller than the United States, Ecuador boasts a staggering 16% of
Let's
all
see,
known
Ecuador.
bird species, 8% of mammals, and 8% of amphibians. This diverse range of life makes Ecuador one of the world's most biologically rich regions. Among its more recent discoveries are two species of
It
glass
looks amazing,
frogs,
though.
named mashpee and nouns, found in 2022. These frogs are not only a testament to the country's
Tiny.
remarkable biodiversity, but also showcase one of nature's most astonishing adaptations.
Well, I
What
bet
makes
they are
the mashpee
dangerous.
and nouns frogs so extraordinary is their translucent stomachs. The transparency is so extreme that it allows observers to see their internal organs, and in females, even the eggs they carry.
Now we need to find one with a transparent ventral side. Stay down there.
This bizarre feature is more than just a fascinating quirk. It serves a crucial survival purpose. The transparency of their stomachs helps the frogs blend into their surroundings, camouflaging them effectively against predators. When viewed from above, their bodies become almost indistinguishable from the surrounding leaves and vegetation, as their internal organs are concealed in a way that mimics the look of the foliage around them. This camouflage technique is especially important for small creatures like these frogs, which are less than an inch long and easily overlooked by predators. In addition, the clear stomachs of these frogs, combined with their small size and green coloring, make them masters of camouflage. Their ability to blend into the leaves is astonishing, and explains why they remained undetected by scientists for so long. This see-through stomach may seem strange to us, but is a brilliant survival mechanism, helping them avoid predators in their dense habitats. Imagining such transparency in humans is quite different, enough to make anyone rethink wearing white pants. The thought of having our internal organs on display is certainly unsettling. Now, take a moment to look at this image. You might be wondering, what kind of creature is this? This creature was discovered
What's
during a
up to the
marine
three people
underwater
that are watching with
exploration,
me?
and researchers are still working to determine its origin and other details. If you think you know what it is, let us know in the comments. Hybrid hunter. Classifying animals is a complicated endeavor, especially when nature presents creatures as bizarre and extraordinary as the pelican spider.
Two kiwi.
This remarkable arachnid, named for its
kiwi
striking
go?
resemblance to a pelican with its long, slender
Where are
neck,
you?
is one of the strangest creatures ever discovered. Measuring roughly the size of a grain of rice, the pelican spider's unusual appearance and behavior make it one of the most fascinating and mysterious members of the spider family. For centuries, this spider was thought to be extinct, with no sightings or reports of its existence after its fossilized remains, trapped in amber, were discovered dating back to about 50 million years ago. These ancient specimens were the only evidence of the spider's existence until the 1800s.
New Zealand. You're from
It
New
wasn't until
Zealand?
recently, in 2019, that scientists were astounded to find new species of pelican spiders in the isolated rainforests of Madagascar's mountaintop regions. These areas are so remote and difficult to access that the spiders have likely remained undiscovered for centuries. Hiding in plain sight, the pelican spider's peculiar hunting techniques set it apart from typical web spinners. Instead of using a traditional web to capture prey, this spider is a skilled predator of other spiders, specifically targeting its arachnid cousins. It silently follows the
What
threads
does
of
that
other spider
mean?
webs,
Kia
and with
ora.
incredible precision, it plucks at the strands to mimic the vibrations of struggling prey, luring the unsuspecting victim closer. Once within striking distance, the pelican spider attacks with its deadly beak-like jaws, which are equipped with venomous fangs. The arachnid impales its victim before hanging it upside down, where it injects venom to immobilize and ultimately kill the prey. This method of hunting is both gruesome and captivating, demonstrating nature's raw efficiency. The venom paralyzes the victim, allowing the pelican spider to feast at its leisure. Long and deep. When we think of undiscovered creatures, we often imagine small, elusive beings hidden in forests or on remote mountaintops. However, some of the most extraordinary organisms go unnoticed right beneath our oceans. In 2020, researchers diving off the coast of Western Australia made a stunning discovery. A siphonophore, a glowing, almost otherworldly organism that stretched an incredible
I want to say
390 feet
hello,
in length. This
go.
astonishing size makes the siphonophore the longest known animal on Earth, dwarfing even the blue whale, which can grow up to 100 feet. Its
Oh,
discovery is a striking
thank you.
reminder of
Aura,
how
back to
much of the
you.
ocean remains unexplored and how many secrets it holds beneath its surface. At first glance, the siphonophore might appear to be a single creature, glowing eerily in the dark waters. However, this animal is not a singular organism, but rather a colony of thousands of specialized multicellular organisms called zooids. These zooids, although they appear as individual creatures, work in perfect harmony to function as one. Each zooid has its own role, with some dedicated to feeding, others to movement, and still
Now,
others
how
to
is it in New
reproduction.
Zealand?
Some zooids act as feeders, using their stinging cells to capture prey, while others pass the nutrients along through a shared digestive system that benefits the
Well,
entire colony. This
basic
shared network allows
basic
the
stuff.
siphonophore
I
to
like
thrive as
to
one giant coordinated entity. The
uh,
siphonophore's
play
intrigue lies in
games. I
how its
like
genetically
to do
distinct, independently functioning zooids
to watch
coordinate
videos
seamlessly.
and do
The
research
synchronization of
about stuff
tasks
that I
like
like,
feeding and
about
movement in this
stuff
vast
that
structure raises questions about communication and
I
cooperation in
want to
nature. Scientists
familiarize myself
continue to
with.
study how these units maintain the colony's delicate balance. Mini muntjac. Imagine walking through the dense forests of Myanmar and stumbling upon a tiny deer, no bigger than a small dog. In 1997, biologist Alan Rabinowitz had this extraordinary experience. At first, he mistook the creature for a juvenile deer, but further observation revealed that it was, in fact, a fully grown female of a previously unknown species, the leaf muntjac.
Well,
This tiny
it
deer
looks
stands
different
just
here
20 inches
where
tall,
I'm at.
making it one of the
It's
smallest
a lot
deer
of fog
species in the
and
world. Its size is so small that
it's
local
a
hunters
little
claim
bit
they can wrap the entire body of the leaf
a little bit
muntjac in a
cold, but
single large
it's all
leaf,
right.
giving the species its fitting name. Despite their small size and adorable appearance, leaf muntjacs are not easy to find. They live in the dense, secluded forests of Myanmar, where they are well camouflaged by the thick vegetation. Their tiny stature allows them to remain hidden among the underbrush. And their brownish coats help them blend seamlessly into their forest surroundings. Additionally, leaf muntjacs are solitary animals, preferring to keep to themselves rather than forming large herds like other deer species. This solitary lifestyle and their ability to remain out of sight likely contributed to the delay in their discovery, as their remote habitat and elusive behavior made them nearly impossible to spot. These miniature deer are also incredibly elusive, moving cautiously through the dense forest floor and often staying hidden in the undergrowth to avoid predators. Their small size and secretive nature made them an enigma until Rabinowitz's discovery. While their appearance might make them seem like the perfect candidates for pets, the leaf muntjac is far better off in its natural environment. The forests they inhabit provide them with the necessary shelter and food, and they play a role in maintaining the delicate balance of their ecosystem. Leaping lemurs. The sun-to-flying lemur is another fascinating example of a creature whose name doesn't quite fit its true nature. Despite the name, it is
Merry
neither a
Christmas to
lemur nor
you.
capable of true flight. In fact, the sun-to-flying lemur is not a lemur at
Whoever,
all, but a member of the
whoever,
colugo family,
what's your
a group
name?
of gliding mammals native to Southeast Asia. These remarkable creatures have long captivated scientists, but for many years, researchers believed there was only one species of colugo. It wasn't until a 2008 study that scientists discovered at least 3 distinct subspecies of the Sunda colugo, shedding new light on the diversity within this already fascinating group. One of the most extraordinary features of the Sunda flying lemur is its ability to glide. Colugos have a bat-like membrane of skin that stretches between their limbs and body, effectively creating a natural wingsuit. This membrane allows them to glide with incredible skill and precision. While they can't truly fly like birds or bats, colugos can glide up to an astonishing 450 feet between trees, making them some of the best gliders in the animal kingdom. Despite their ability to cover such vast distances in the air, these mammals weigh only around 2 pounds, which helps them navigate the forest canopies with impressive agility. Their nocturnal habits only add to the mystery of the Sunda flying lemur. At night, they silently glide through the trees, their movements so smooth and eerie that they seem almost ghostly. While they pose no threat to humans, their ability to glide silently and their elusive, shadow-like presence in the dark can give them an almost otherworldly quality. Their nocturnal lifestyle, combined with their unique gliding ability, makes them both fascinating and somewhat haunting. Colorful and sticky. Stick insects are often thought of as masters of disguise, blending seamlessly into their surroundings and going unnoticed by both predators and prey. However, two species from Madagascar, the Acreoptera manga and Acreoptera mariloco, discovered in 2019, challenge this image of the drab, camouflaged insect. These species stand out with their vibrant metallic hues, featuring dazzling shades of green, gold, and purple. Their striking colors set them apart from most other stick insects, who rely on blending in with their environment. Yet, this eye-catching beauty comes with a significant trade-off. While the bright colors of these stick insects help attract mates, they also make them more visible to predators. In the wild, where survival is often determined by staying hidden, standing out can be a dangerous disadvantage. To counteract this vulnerability, Acreoptera species have evolved a unique defense mechanism. They have powerful neck glands that secrete foul-smelling chemicals, which serve to deter potential attackers. The smell is so strong and unpleasant that it can dissuade even the most determined predator. This combination of colorful attraction and potent defense showcases the complexity of nature's survival strategies. These Madagascan stick insects, which may grow to 9.5 inches long, are among the world's largest. Their vibrant hue and big size demonstrate how evolution balances attraction and defense. These insects are both stunning and formidable, intriguing and threatening. The Acreoptera manga and mariloco show nature's unexpected combinations and complicated survival methods. They illustrate evolution's inventiveness in combining beauty and defense to address life's challenges. Free love frogfish. In 2009, scientists made a remarkable discovery off the coast of Ambon Island in Indonesia, the psychedelic frogfish. This aquatic oddity, with its striking kaleidoscopic pattern of yellows, oranges, and pinks, immediately captivated researchers. Its vibrant colors, although seemingly eye-catching, are actually an ingenious form of camouflage. The frogfish blends seamlessly into the coral reefs, sitting motionless among the vibrant sea life as it waits for prey to wander too close. The fish's hunting strategy is as lazy as it is effective. By staying still, it attracts curious prey that unsuspectingly swims right into its wide, gaping mouth. It's a remarkable example of how an animal can use its environment to enhance its survival. But the frogfish's uniqueness doesn't stop with its feeding habits. This creature's mobility is just as unconventional. Unlike most fish, the psychedelic frogfish isn't built for swimming. It can't glide gracefully through the water like other marine life. Instead, it has developed a peculiar method of movement. Using its large, strong pectoral fins, the frogfish hops along the seafloor, almost as though it's walking. In addition to this, it can propel itself by gulping water into its mouth and expelling it forcefully through its gills, creating enough thrust to move short distances. This unusual way of traveling makes the frogfish a quirky and endearing creature, as it seems to move in a jerky, almost clumsy manner. The psychedelic frogfish's extraordinary characteristics serve as a reminder of the incredible diversity of life lurking beneath the ocean's surface. Solar slug. Sea slugs are often overlooked in the animal kingdom, but one species, Elysia marginata, has proven that even the smallest creatures can hold remarkable abilities. This unassuming slug has a unique and bizarre trick. It can decapitate itself and regrow an entirely new body. While this may sound like something out of a science fiction story, it is a true and rare biological phenomenon that only a few creatures, like certain species of starfish and salamanders, are capable of performing. The Elysia marginata's regenerative abilities are especially fascinating because they are tied to a special dietary habit that enables it to survive and thrive after such a drastic procedure. The slug's ability to regrow its body hinges on its diet, which consists of algae, specifically chloroplast-rich algae. As it consumes the algae, Elysia marginata absorbs the chloroplasts. The structures within plant cells that carry out photosynthesis. This process is vital because it allows the sea slug to harness the power of the sun and generate its own energy. Even after decapitating itself, the slug's head retains these chloroplasts, allowing it to continue photosynthesizing and producing energy while its body regrows. This remarkable ability makes the slug a kind of solar-powered organism, giving it a unique advantage in its underwater environment. But why would a sea slug need to sever its own head? Researchers believe this gruesome behavior evolved as a defense mechanism against parasites or infections.
That's
If the
interesting.
slug's body becomes infected, it can shed the entire infected portion, ensuring its survival by regenerating a fresh, healthy body. While this process may sound dramatic, it is crucial for the slug's survival, and it underscores how evolution can lead to extreme adaptations to ensure the continuation of a species. The regeneration process takes about 20 hours, a relatively short period in the grand scheme of survival, allowing the slug to quickly recover and move on. Glide on. Australia is known for its incredible wildlife, ranging from the scary to the adorable. One of its cutest creatures is the greater glider, a native marsupial that seems straight out of a fairy tale. Scientists initially thought there was just one species of this fluffy glider. However, in 2020, they discovered 3 distinct species: the southern, central, and northern greater gliders. While their names aren't the most creative, the discovery tripled their biodiversity, but sadly not their numbers. These gliders face severe challenges. Over the past 20 years, their population has dropped by a shocking 80%, mainly due to deforestation and devastating bushfires. These marsupials rely entirely on eucalyptus trees for survival, eating only their leaves and buds. This dependence makes them incredibly vulnerable. Without eucalyptus forests, they have nowhere to live or eat. Their gliding ability is fascinating. Using a membrane that stretches from their elbows to their ankles, greater gliders can soar between trees effortlessly. They often maintain multiple dens, up to 20, all within gliding distance of their food sources. This strategy helps them stay safe and mobile, but it also means a single bushfire can wipe out their entire habitat. The survival of the greater gliders is uncertain, but conservation efforts are underway. Their charm and uniqueness make them worth fighting for. Let's hope they glide through these tough times and flourish again. Tentacular spectacular. Imagine having a species named after you. For Jeff Reynolds, a passionate volunteer at California's Monterey Bay Aquarium, this became a reality when scientists named a newly discovered jellyfish Atolla reynoldsi in his honor. Reynolds had long been dedicated to marine life, and his contributions to ocean research were acknowledged in a truly unique way when this rare jellyfish was identified. Atolla reynoldsi was found exclusively in the Monterey Bay area, a location known for its rich marine biodiversity. What makes this jellyfish even more remarkable is its habitat. It resides in the midnight zone of the ocean, a pitch-black region more than 10,500 feet below the surface. This jellyfish is a visual marvel, unlike most of its relatives. While many jellyfish are known for their long, trailing tentacles that they use to catch prey, Atolla reynoldsi takes a different approach. Instead of one long tentacle, it is covered with numerous short, curly tentacles that give it an almost alien appearance. These tentacles are believed to play a role in attracting prey, but they also add to the jellyfish's ethereal look. Despite being among the largest jellyfish in its family, measuring just over 5 inches wide, Atolla reynoldsi is still elusive. Its size and unique tentacles don't make it any easier to spot in the deep, dark waters where it lives. Since its discovery in 2006, scientists have had very limited sightings of this elusive creature. Only 10 specimens have been observed, making Atolla reynoldsi an incredibly rare species. Its extreme rarity, combined with its alien-like appearance and deep-sea habitat, has left researchers with many unanswered questions. The deep sea is full of mysterious and often uncharted creatures, and Atolla Reynoldsy is a prime example of the hidden wonders that exist beneath the waves. Leaf it out. Madagascar is home to some of the most fascinating and unique wildlife in the world, and one of its most remarkable creatures is the leaf-tailed gecko Uroplatus phaneretra. Discovered in 2016, this gecko is a true master of camouflage. It can blend so seamlessly with the leaves in its environment that it becomes nearly invisible to predators. Its appearance is astonishingly leaf-like, with a flattened body and tail that mimic the shape and texture of dead leaves, providing it with an almost perfect disguise.
That's pretty dope.
Unlike its smaller and more ominously named relative, the satanic leaf-tailed gecko, Uroplatus phaneretra, is larger and more benign in its appearance and name, which makes it stand out in a more serene way. This fascinating gecko is found exclusively in the lower altitudes of Marojejy National Park in northern Madagascar, a region known for its dense forests and rich biodiversity. However, the gecko's specialized habitat is increasingly at risk due to illegal logging and habitat destruction.
If not
The
descent,
limited
then it
range of
should be at
Uroplatus
least
phaneretra
families.
means that its survival is heavily dependent on the preservation of these
But
specific
they are
forest
geckos,
areas.
so,
As the forest continues to be threatened by human activity, scientists have expressed concern about the gecko's future, as it is not only vulnerable to habitat loss, but also to the illegal pet trade. Leaf-tailed geckos, including Uroplatus phaneretra, are highly sought after by reptile enthusiasts due to their unique and stunning appearance. Larger specimens of this species, like phaneretra, are especially desirable on the black market. This puts additional pressure on the already limited population of these geckos, making conservation efforts even more urgent. The combination of habitat destruction and the illegal pet trade makes the gecko's future uncertain, but conservationists are working tirelessly to protect Madagascar's rich and rare biodiversity. The discovery of Uroplatus phaneretra is a reminder of the extraordinary creatures that remain hidden in the world's ecosystems. It also underscores the importance of preserving these habitats to ensure that such species continue to thrive. Protecting the forests of Madagascar and regulating the pet trade are crucial steps in securing a future for this captivating gecko and the many other species that call the island home. Olinguito Oz. Carnivorans are a group of mammals typically known for their meat-eating habits, but not all members of this group are strict carnivores. One particularly adorable exception is the Olinguito, a species that was officially discovered in 2013. This small nocturnal mammal resides in the cloud forests of the Andes, which span across Colombia and Ecuador. These misty, lush forests, with their towering trees and vibrant ecosystems, provide an ideal home for the Olinguito, a creature perfectly suited to life among the clouds. Olinguitos are tiny by mammal standards, weighing just 2 pounds and measuring less than 15 inches long, making them roughly the size of a house cat. Despite their small stature, they are agile and adept at navigating the dense forest canopy. Their diet is quite varied, consisting mainly of fruit, insects, and nectar, which they forage for in the trees. This diverse diet reflects their adaptability and the richness of the forest environment they inhabit. Living at elevations of up to 9,000 feet above sea level, Olinguitos are high-altitude dwellers, often hidden among the thick foliage where they are hard to spot. Their elusive nature, combined with their small size, explains why these charming creatures went undetected for so long. Olinguitos are solitary animals, usually active at night, which further reduces the chances of encountering them. It wasn't until a thorough study of their behavior and physical characteristics in 2013 that scientists were able to officially recognize them as a distinct species, separate from their closely related cousins, the Olingos. The discovery of the Olinguito is a poignant reminder of how much of the natural world remains unexplored. 1 in a million. How small can a lizard get? If you're picturing something tiny, think small. In 2021, scientists discovered the Brachysia nana, a chameleon from Madagascar, so small it could fit on your fingertip. Measuring just half an inch, it's officially the smallest reptile in the world, dethroning its cousin, the Brachysia micra. now humorously nicknamed the Not-So-Micra. This tiny marvel lives on the rainforest floor, where it hunts minuscule creatures like mites and
What does
springtails.
SWT
During the
mean?
day, it's active and
I'm
alert,
good with
but
the
by night,
acronym.
it
I'm
retreats into
good
the
with the
safety of the
acronym, but
grass to
I'm
rest.
sometimes
Despite its
slow.
remarkable discovery, researchers know very little about this chameleon.
SWT, you know
Only
what I
2
mean?
individuals have been found so far, which suggests it might be critically endangered. Habitat loss due to deforestation has put
To
immense
say
pressure on this
SWT,
species.
have
However,
a
there's a
Merry
glimmer
Christmas,
of hope.
bro.
The rainforest where Brooksha Nana was found recently came under protection.
I'll set you
This
up later.
move could safeguard its future and that of countless other undiscovered species. Could an even tinier reptile exist? The natural world often surprises us, so it's not impossible. For now, the Brookesia nana holds the title of the smallest known reptile, a champion of nature's creativity and resilience. Bug romance. Tree hoppers. Tree hoppers are some of the most diverse and fascinating insects on Earth, with thousands of species that vary in shape, size, and appearance. These peculiar creatures have evolved to blend in seamlessly with their environments, often mimicking thorns, leaves, or other plant parts to avoid predators. In 2020, trainee entomologist Brendan Morris made an
Sleepy.
exciting discovery at the Carnegie Natural History
Okay.
Museum. While
Most
examining
definitely
a
after
collection of
this,
insects, Morris identified a
and
new
in the
species
light.
of tree hopper that had never been seen before. This unique insect caught his attention due to its distinctive leg hairs and unusual genitalia, prompting him to name it Kaikaya Gaga after the iconic pop star Lady Gaga. Tree hoppers are fascinating not only for their appearance but also for their feeding habits. Unlike mosquitoes, which suck blood, tree hoppers feed on tree sap. They do this by puncturing tree bark with their specialized mouth parts and secreting saliva to keep the hole open, allowing them to drink the sap continuously. This method of feeding might sound simple, but it's an essential process for the tree hoppers and the plants they feed on, creating a unique relationship in the ecosystem. Despite their often bizarre and intimidating looks, these insects play an important role in maintaining the balance of their habitats. Kaikaya Gaga, like other tree
Kaikaya
hoppers,
Gaga.
possesses features that allow it to blend perfectly with its
They got
surroundings. Its
some
odd appearance is
crazy
both a defense
names for
mechanism
this.
and a reflection of the incredible
They also
adaptability
look
of nature.
very.
The discovery of this species adds to the already
The
rich
name
and diverse
befits
world
them.
of tree hoppers, a group of insects that never ceases to surprise scientists and nature enthusiasts alike. The naming of Kaikaya Gaga also highlights the playful and creative side of science, as entomologists often draw inspiration from pop culture and personal passions when naming new species. Fit for a president. In 2018, a fascinating blind worm-like amphibian was discovered in Panama and given the name Dermaphis donaldtrumpi. This unusual creature, which burrows underground and has a unique method of feeding its young by shedding its skin, was named in reference to the ex-president as a form of protest. A UK-based company that
Next
opposed
year
Donald
gonna be
Trump's
your
environmental
president.
policies chose the name to draw attention to his stance on environmental issues. The Dermaphis donaldtrumpi is an excellent example of nature's strange adaptability, embodying life's ability to evolve in unexpected and mysterious
Look
ways.
like a worm.
Interestingly, Dermaphis donaldtrumpi isn't the only species to be named after a president. Barack Obama also has a variety of species named in his honor.
People,
In
why
fact,
are we doing
a
this?
total of 14 species have been given his name, including the extinct lizard Obamadon. These names serve as an interesting intersection between science and culture, showcasing how discoveries in the natural world are sometimes influenced by human figures and events. These quirky scientific names highlight the playful and sometimes politically charged side of naming new species. By connecting biodiversity with prominent cultural or political figures, scientists often add an element of creativity and commentary to their discoveries. Whether a protest, a tribute, or simply a quirky coincidence, the names given to species like
Maybe it
Dermaphis
was Obama
donaldtrumpi
that
and
actually,
Obamadon remind us of the dynamic
found
relationship between
that-
the natural world and the world of human culture. Zombies of the deep.
species.
Deep in the Gulf of Mexico, scientists made a chilling observation. Dead alligators, dropped to the ocean floor, were quickly devoured by a strange and eerie cast of deep-sea creatures. One alligator was consumed by giant crustaceans, while another simply disappeared without a trace. But the most unsettling fate befell the third alligator, which was consumed by Osedax worms, often referred to as zombie worms. These creatures have a truly bizarre feeding method. Lacking a mouth or stomach, they instead use specialized tendrils to extract nutrients directly from bones. The Osedax worms are a fascinating yet haunting example of nature's efficiency. In an environment as extreme as the deep sea, where food is scarce and the pressure is crushing, these worms have evolved an extraordinary way to survive. Their ability to break down and feed off bones, which many other creatures cannot access, allows them to thrive in an environment where others might not. The term zombie worm is a fitting description, as these creatures essentially reanimate the remains of dead animals, playing a crucial role in the ocean's ecosystem by recycling nutrients. This discovery in the Gulf of Mexico is just one example of how life in the deepest, most inhospitable parts of our planet has adapted in the most unusual and often eerie ways. As we conclude our exploration of the 5 strange new species scientists recently discovered, we're reminded of the endless wonders that still exist in the natural world. From mysterious creatures with unique traits to species that challenge our understanding of life itself, these discoveries reveal just how much we have yet to learn. What other strange and incredible life forms could be hiding out there? If you found this journey as fascinating as we did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's keep unraveling the mysteries of nature together.
Subscribe. So
imagine stumbling upon a creature
it's
so
just,
huge it could
it's an
dwarf
interesting
even the largest
video.
non-marine animals today. Scientists
We have to
discovered
end
the
it.